It's not very clear when it's starting. It says I'm live. Do we have audio? We've got audio. Good. So we're going to keep working on the horrible industrial controller thing that we've been working on for 3 or 4 streams, and we basically got it working. I think last night we got a good picture on the original LCD, and that's really all we can ask for. So in the meantime, between streams, I've taken over the drive, since it's an old mechanical drive, pairing this thing and taking a backup. So I've got an image of this thing. It doesn't seem to have a valid partition table, so there's something weird going on, but hopefully it's just going to work anyway. So we're going to be reassembling this. Now this drive is, of course, held together with tape, masking tape, as everything else in this thing. And this masking tape has obviously been sucking up some moisture, because if we hold on to the camera, you can see it's all crumpled up and horrible. So we're going to take this off, put some Kapton tape instead, reassemble it with the floppy drive, and then we'll get back to doing the actual PC. Oh god, that's a bad peel. Ugh. People are showing up in the chat saying hello. Hello, chat. So if you haven't been keeping up, we've been doing a few streams on this industrial controller from a forestry clearing machine, the type of thing that goes into a forest on really big wheels, and it grabs trees and turns them into logs. And that's all it does. They're very expensive. This one's kind of old, from about 2003, and the controller that programs everything just doesn't work. It didn't have proper image on the screen when we started out. And we've remedied that issue in previous streams by cleaning out a bunch of conductive glue and moisture damage and general wear and tear from many years of use and abuse. And now we're going to be putting everything back together. So we haven't really tested this 100% yet, because there's we have not turned the backlight on the display. So we still have that to test once we get that far. But I'm quite confident it's going to work just fine, since we were having issues with or without backlight before. So I'm positive. I think we've reached a working machine. I think I've also published the old streams as recordings, so if you want to go back and see them, if you haven't, they should be available. This Kapton tape is in a really bad place right now. Sam B says, at least they didn't use sellotape. I would prefer sellotape, because that at least does not absorb moisture. Also, it tends to last longer, and it doesn't leave as much residue. So yeah, definitely preferable to masking tape any day of the week. We don't need anything that wide for the rest of that. Perfect. So this is the driver caddy thing that I'm getting echo from my headphones. Jeez, shut up me. This is the drive caddy thing that basically bolts onto the entire thing and holds the drives in place. It's not the most toolless design, as you're going to find out in a moment. It's basically made up of screws, and you need to take everything out in order to get to anything. Beautiful. I would like to just put some kind of SSD in this thing right away, but it's really one of these things that you don't want to fuck with it if it works. And this drive still works, so we're not going to fuck with it. Alright. This goes like so, I think. And it uses these screws. Pussy one. The drive of this thing is a 6 GB IDE mechanical hard drive. Does it have a data code? It does not, sadly. I think this thing dates from 2003. Since that's the newest data code I've found inside it. Windows 95 in 2003. Well, we have the drive caddy reassembled. I think we're gonna go ahead and give the display assembly a bit of attention, because the last time when I reassembled the touchscreen thing, I didn't have any really good gasketing material to put around it, and you're gonna see what I'm talking about in a moment. So we're gonna just put some vulcanizing tape around the edge of the touchscreen to give it some kind of surface to lean against. That ensures that it doesn't crack, because that's one of those really specialized components that we just don't want it to break. That would be a really bad thing. I don't think this floppy drive is used. Well, that goes like so, mounted with 2 screws. That's literally 2 screws. Two screws, and the entire thing is mounted to the door of a vehicle used by big burly woodworking, like forestry guys, like Canadian lumberjacks. Oh, never mind, it was glued. It was glued in place there, so that's fine. Guess we're gonna have to put some fresh glue on there. Let's just put some glue on there now, so we don't forget. Glue. For this thing really does need to stay in place. So. Not impressed with the build quality of this thing. Super Boobaloo says, "Good evening, fellow Earthlings." Good evening, Super Boobaloo. Well, that should be quite glued in place. And that goes there. This goes there, I think. And I think this goes like so. So that should be our drive caddy reassembled, but that's one of the final pieces we're going to need. So let's give some attention to the display assembly. after I clean the glue off of my fingers, because we really don't need that on the inside of a touchscreen. Alphonse G, one of our most recurring viewers, is in the chat. Hello, Alphonse. Nice to see you, man. In general, it's probably smarter to do the touchscreen before you do the sticky glue, as a general rule. But oh well. So here's the display assembly thing with all its painters, masking tape everywhere. Let's just get rid of that. Ah, sticky. There. So this gasketing here, I want to remedy, because there was nothing from the factory. Well, there was an attempt from a factory, but it was not a very good attempt. So I just used double-sided tape with the backing still in place to give it something, instead of just riding the poor resistive touchscreen glass thing just straight on the plastic, which would be bad. Quite bad. So I'm thinking we can just put some cut up vulcanizing tape on there, and it's going to work just fine. Because this is like point something millimeters thick. You can see that the original was like some horrible foamy stuff that's just disintegrating. I'm thinking some vulcanizing tape is going to be a small step up. I want to see how exactly that aligns so that we don't get too much of it on the touchscreen surface. We just really want a rather thin lining, actually. Really thin lining. Yeah, these things are scary. So it rests right down on the bottom. Like so. Ideal if this touchscreen should never have to come out. Sam B's asking, what's the floppy drive actually used for? I have no idea. It's a Windows 95 PC, of course it has a floppy drive. How else would you install drivers? But yeah, I think if we just do the vulcanizing tape along where we have the other tape already, it should be fine. It's not very sticky anyway. This thing is so scary. Really brittle glass. We don't need a full width, so I'm going to cut some strips and cuff them in twine. We can also definitely undo the backing on this double-sided tape to actually make use of it. With what? What is this? What the hell kind of tape is this? Oh. I'm confused. I think I put this here. This is... I have no clue what's going on. This is not some tape I think I have. Was this factory? No, it can't be. Oh yeah, this is factory. This is factory. I didn't put that there. I guess I misremember. This is quite obviously factory. So, the ugly hack is not mine. Haha, the ugly hack is from the factory. Who would have thunk it? Well, it is double-sided tape, so we can use that to attach our vulcanizing tape. That's good. I was so sure I put that there. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, something like that. Let's trim this to length. Come on. Don't get stuck. Alphonse Jean says, I don't know how much config you would have to do on a tractor with a saw. This isn't a tractor with a saw, it's a tractor with like an automated tree cutting tool. Like it has a saw, it has a claw, and it'll automatically pick the tree up once it's done. Like it grabs the tree, cuts it off, drops it down, and puts it on a thing. So it's quite high tech. That's why this PC is so critical. You literally can't run it manually. You can drive it around, but you can't actually use it for anything. Licorice. I want to get this really up against the edge there. I know this is not how you're supposed to use vulcanizing tape, but we're just using it as like kind of makeshift gasket. There we go. I'm surprised actually that they didn't use, you know, painter's tape, masking tape for this, since they use masking tape for literally everything else. Basically all of these cat computer screen thingies have issues with getting dirt in between the frame and the touchscreen. Like I worked on a couple of newer ones where you just get so much dirt between the touchscreen and this gasket we're installing that the touchscreen just stops working properly. And that's what I'm trying to preempt here. Yeah, something like that. For the actual standard config of machine, they use PCMCIA cards. Like, that's why if you've been around, you've seen the PC has 4 PCMCIA slots. And that's for, like, pre-programmed configs for different scenarios. Ooh. So I would imagine the flop is probably for like just getting personalized data onto it. For whatever reason. I mean, it is a standard Windows 95 PC after all. You can do whatever with it. We don't actually have any tape on this side. So that's just kind of going to get squeezed in place by the touchscreen when we get the whole assembly done up. Oh, that's fine, I think. I don't think it's going to be a problem. This terrain is going to be a problem though. This stuff does not like to get cut at all. Yeah. Okay, maybe it'll survive with the terrain there, because that's not coming off easily. Hopefully it will, if that was terrain there before anyway. No, that's bad. I really don't want to be covering up any part of the screen. I think that might be okay. So let's just rest the touchscreen back in this and get back to work with the rest of the stuff. Really good idea to wear gloves working with these so you don't get fingerprints on the inside. This is going to be sticky and horrifying. Decent chance of complete chaos. Okay. Looking good. Don't mind that at all. Gonna make a much better seal than the original that. Wonder if we'll have anything to gain by just wiping off the original LCD. Looks so bad. I don't know where to source a new one just like it. It's not very nice. Yeah, that did absolutely nothing, but at least it's clean. So, yeah, I think the next step then is going to be reassembling the display assembly. So this is the inverter screen main T bit. Oh yeah, we're going to need the display cable as well. Someone says it looks like there's bubbles in the screen. Yeah, there's, like, I think one of the backlight diffusion layers have just kind of melted in the sunlight. I'm looking for the display cable. There it is. With this poor flat flex. Well, this should already be clean. We know this connection works. We are probably quite clever if we tape this to the display. I think that's a very smart thing to do, since it's just basically floating free, not attached to anything at all. Where's my blade? You don't have any fingernails while wearing blue gloves, so you can't get the tape up. this is a saved headache, I guarantee. You can see there's no masking tape residue there, so this was not taped down from a factory. How the hell is this supposed to happen? Is that the correct way? Do it like so. We'll just try it. Okay, that's not happening. That is not happening. A saved headache and a created headache. Oh well. We need to shove the cable through first. Like so. I think that's correct. Yeah, that has to be correct. Stay in place. So people are talking about PC104 in the chat. This thing is not quite PC104. It seems to be PC104 with a bunch of extra crap. It has like a whole slew of connectors that are not PC104. For instance, the video signal is a special connector. I think that's good. Is it good there? I'm sure the back of my head is beautiful. You are free to admire it. That is good. One of our lamps is popping out and it's stuck like that, so we'll just pretend that's fine. I don't want to have to do a lamp change on this thing yet. Maybe in a few years, but not today. Mana Wayudin says hello in chat. Hello, Mana Wayudin. Hey, aren't we in a like ridiculous technical difficulties free streak. I think we've had 2 full streams with no horrible problems, which is definitely a record. Stupid lamp. All you need in life is Captain Tape. Oh, I believe in Captain Tape. So I've been mulling over the fact for PC to change the CMOS coin cell thing. The original cell is rechargeable, this one is as well, but the original seems to be working, so I don't think we're going to take the risk of losing any data by swapping it. Since the original is working, let's not fuck with it. It would be quite a procedure to do without losing power to the board, and I just don't want to deal with that. I'd have to solder in a 2032 on some kind of horrible adaptive thing, and that's just... nah. The original cell works. Sam B says, HDMI capture card. Yes, but that was 3 streams ago. Last stream was fine. This stream is fine thus far. So we are on a 2-stream streak of complete technical non-issues. S12B etc. says hi to all. Hello S12B etc. That should be a decent display assembly. So now the next step is going to be to get that into the touch screen assembly. Now we'll actually reassemble this with a PC first, so we need to properly assemble the PC. Remove our masking tape. Reinstall the driver caddies. The masking tape. And we need to glue all the shit down. Come on. Come on. I want to do a test with the inverter in place though before we glue everything down, just to be sure that this thing will boot into its OS and not implode. Drive caddy. Let's see if I remember how all this stuff goes together. It's a bit of a mess. Oh no. This stupid wire is supposed to go through the computer board hole. Ah, I'm not taking the computer board out. We're going to have to resolder it to the resistor. Oh well. The big power resistor that's taped to the floppy drive to give our floppy drive more power. Oh, did I say I was in a 4-stream streak? No, that's not correct. That's definitely not correct. I must have misspoken. Oh, and by the way, this solder rag is older than this YouTube channel. I bought this when I was like 16, before I had this soldering station. God, it's been amazing. It's one of the best things I own. Speedy desoldering. Where are my snips? There we are. So this seems to go like there. Oh, it's full of conductive glue, of course. Yeah, good enough. There are tentacles growing from our board. This just turned into a hentai. Amazing quality. Sam B says it's 2:30 AM. So you must be Australian? Are you Dave Jones in disguise? Jeez. That's some powerful cable. Yeah, wire. Did I get the wiring correct? So the hard drive goes there. The floppy drive is going in the wrong direction. So this looks completely wrong. How does this work? That works, but it's like the tab thing is on the bottom. Is that how it's supposed to be? Does the conductive glue line up? Yeah, it seems to. But yes, that is correct. So this goes like so. Hard drive. There's conductive glue in the plastic, but none of the conductors, so we will not clean that. The power resistor, I think, goes on one of the sides, but which? Was it just long enough to reach over on that side? And we have masking tape there, so it has to have been on that side. I have the screws for that somewhere around here. Correction, I have at some point had the screws for that somewhere around here. Where have those gone? I have a bunch of random M3s, but none of them look nasty enough to be coming from this thing, but we'll just take a couple of them, whatever. I don't think it matters that we're not using cat branded screws. Oh, those actually aren't M3, they're M2.5. Never mind then, it does matter. I had all the screws for this thing neatly placed exactly where they should be. But OBS just said something fell apart. Expect glitches. There the screws are. Saki Bugger's in the chat. Hello, Saki Bugger. Nice to see you. Someone's talking about those super cheap off-brand process calibrator things. No, I didn't catch the bus for that. It's A shame, I guess, but I don't really have much of a use for that, and I never buy things I don't have a specific use for. So it doesn't really bother me. Like, that's not the type of thing I would buy in general. You know, I'm the kind of person who uses the same solder rag for, 15 years. This goes like so. God, these wires. This feels bad. I think I have the IDE cable the right way around, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll just have to try it. No, maybe that does not make sense actually. No, it has to make sense because it's there. Blech. Blech. There's conductive glue on the IDE cable, which just is in a place that doesn't really make any sense. This is so... Like, these wires are basically... Ah, shit. We need to bolt this down. Whoops. Forgot about that. And we are missing a standoff there. Ah, shit. We need to tear one corner of a CPU board off. Damn it. And it's the hardest corner to get off. This just turned horrifying. This thing is so not made to be repaired. Come on. Come on. I can see why PC104 is not like an amazing standard that everyone will use it, because getting these boards off is basically impossible. Just need to get it up enough to wrangle that in there. Almost there. Almost there. This does not bode well, Alphonse Jean says. But this isn't for a boat. Of course it doesn't bode well. A forestry machine sinks like a stone. It's made out of steel. Haha, there we go. Tomorrow I'm actually going out in the field to work on a boat. So maybe Alphonse is just foretelling the future. But tomorrow I really do want a future that boats well. Like the boat in question was sitting in the harbour in like a boathouse. And it was connected to mains power to charge the batteries and run everything while it was sitting there. And then lightning struck. And then everything broke. So they bought a bunch of new modules for everything, but nothing really worked. So I had to repair one of the original motor control boxes for like a 2-year-old Scania engine. Quite nice box, actually. It just had like a couple of teeny tiny broken 5-volt regulators, so it had no the boat box I was working on the other day had no power supply for the like throttle control, and the throttle control on that model is grounding. So the more throttle you give, the less voltage you get out of it. So if the power supply for the throttle control isn't there, that means that your 800 horsepower V16 or whatever is gonna run at full throttle the moment you start it up, which isn't very conducive. It also had no oil pressure monitoring, no nothing, because all of that stuff ran off broken 5-volt regulators. So the motor would start up, rev the shit out of itself, all the while thinking it had no oil pressure. Thankfully it did have oil pressure, but it wasn't happy. It was in fact very sad. Although I'm sure the boat went very fast, at the expense of some minor maneuverability problems. Rosseberry says hello. Hello, Rosseberry. That seems like a Swedish joke. But yeah, the boat controller wasn't that bad. It took quite a few hours to get done, but it wasn't ancient and full of conductive glue. It was just a question of finding all the parts that made 5 volts and then taking those parts over to the box which was broken in different ways and installing them. And then it was just fine. I think there's some small thing that doesn't still work on it, but it's like a minor issue, so the boat can at least be used now. Oh, that's completely the wrong size. Those are going to be 7mm. Yes. No, 6mm. We have 6mm nuts. Sam B asks if the boat controller was the black box thing I fixed a while ago. No, I don't remember fixing a black box thing. I'm sure I did, but this was something I did not publicize at all. since I did it at like a proper job, which is blech. So we are down like one nut. I recall dropping something out of this thing and never figuring out what it was. I'm sure it was that nut. I think I have replacements around here somewhere. That was the sound of me shoving my expensive microphone transmitter thing straight into the wall. Does this all work? Yes, it does. Having a reasonable nut and bolt assortment is one of those things that always makes you happy. Let's just hope these actually are M3s though, and not some stupid other thing. Yeah, close enough. Sam B says the CAN bus thing. Oh no, that was another different boat controller for a different brand, Marine Engine. Which kind of worked-ish, but sadly the software processor thing in it was destroyed, so the customer did not end up with a working engine. But there was like accountability involved, so my customer, I think he's ended up with like a working system now at the expense of someone who just had to buy a new box for him. Which was a real shame, but what can you do? When the magic software IC breaks, you're just screwed. I am now realizing that there should have been a washer there. There should have been a washer, it's not there, the board is bent now, so we will just not bolt this down. This corner gets to be floating. It's fine. We do not need like 4 bolts for one PC104 thing. It's completely okay. We have the rest of the PC held together with masking tape, so it's going to be the strongest part anyway. That's a piece of tin that fell off. You do not need to be there. Come on. Oh, this is so bad. Like, it just kind of doesn't fit right. But it's just because everything's so floppy. Yeah, haha, floppy, ha. The hard drive is like almost touching the control board. So I have to route the wires a stupid distance, like around. Wires come up here, and they go back and around and come out on the other side. And it's not impressive, is what it isn't. There should be nuts on these as well. nuts, washers. God, these pink wires, they are so pinched. It's not good. It is not a good design, this entire device. Ah, that's more tin falling off. Go away. My goal this stream is to see this thing run with backlight. So you can expect that like towards the end probably. Or it will not run with backlight, we will find out. If we were certain about what this thing would do, it would not be in this workshop. That's about as nice as it was when it got here. Meaning terrible, but still. Oh, this is just squeezing and bending everything, it's horrible. Okay. That should be a reasonably assembled PC. We are missing one nut from the PC module, which we can't install, whoops. And we are missing two those standoffy things for the serial port, which we need to put on later. So it's all fine. So this is some original thick, horrible thermal interface material, but it is working still, so we're not going to screw with it. It's okay. And this goes like so. Oh yeah, this is another magnificent design in this I want to show you. We have a fan blowing air that way, and a heatsink which allows airflow through that way. That's amazing. Like, by just flipping this around 90 degrees, they would have made this much better, but they didn't. That's like PC building 101. You put your heatsink in the direction of airflow. Blech. since we actually have the CPU bearing weight on that, I'm just gonna put this on loosely so that there's something to stop the PC board just getting dislodged from the heatsink, even though we can't really tighten it down because I found the washer we were missing. Ugh. Even though we can't tighten it down properly, it's better than nothing. Like I say, it's just barely pinching on there. Might put a bit of glue on it to finally fix it in place. So let's... ah shit, we have like 1 billion screws that's supposed to hold this thing together. Let's do 3 of them. Someone says Lewis is streaming right now. Oh, that explains the unusually low viewer turnout. No wonder. I'm sure he's fixing a MacBook or ranting about New York property. There's another lovely quirk of this machine. About 70% of the screws are Posse 1 and about 30% of the screws are Phillips 1. They're just random. They're all the same size, they're just random heads. Oh no! Our Windows license is getting leaked. Oh no! Okay, so this is a barely assembled computer module. We need to get the display module finished off, and then we can test this. Oh no, we need to mount this into the display module. That's how it goes together. No, wait. Thinking noises. I think it might actually be easiest if we put the shiny aluminium frame into the display thing first. I think that might be the best course of action, because I think we have enough slack to reasonably connect the PC up to all of this afterwards. They cut a too small of a hole for this connector. You cut a hole for literally 1 plug and you couldn't make it the right size. Literally 1 connector. 1. This touchscreen thing right is not an easy task, because it wants to fold up in there, which it is doing. It's a very fine dance trying to not lift the touchscreen out of the mount while keeping this wire stretched enough that it won't crumple up. Okay, it looks good. This is the right length. And I crumple it up. I think it's like crumpled up in between the display panel and the metal case. Oh, there we go. There we go. No, I think it's the correct length. Thank goodness. But this is not sitting right. What is not sitting right? We have this connector crumpled up as well. Okay, now it's sitting right. Yes, no connectors in between the display panel and the touchscreen. Good. Someone is commenting about the not a battery thing that's on the PC part. That's actually referring to a little coin cell looking thing that's actually a cryptographic key, the software key for this thing. And you know, the previous owner was like, it's got 0 volts, it's a bad battery. And had he thrown that away, this thing would be useless because you don't have the product activation for the CAT software. And that's just a lovely single point of failure. So I thought I'd mark it up like, hey, this is not a battery, you shouldn't replace it because it's at 0 volts. If it says 0 volts, it's good. If it says anything other than 0 volts, something seriously fishy is going on. This thing, which goes to this coin cell looking thing, which is a crypto key, an I button. Now comes the fun part of trying to get this display connected to actually mate without ripping the flat flex to pieces. Ah, shit. Forgotten adapter. The touch screen adapter. This has no conductive glue on it. It only had masking tape. No conductive glue. No conductive glue. Ha! Amazing. We don't need to clean it. Amazing. No conductive glue. Ugh, that's a bad sound. Which side of this is conductive? This side. It's all sticky and horrible. I believe in Captain Tape. The never sleeper says, put it back together, and it doesn't work. Well, we're about to find out. I'm not putting it completely back together. And I've put like a grand total of 8 screws in out of about 40. And we are about to do a test before further reassembly commences. So if everything has gone well, we will actually see this thing boot into Windows 95 in just a few minutes. And then I will not figure out how to turn it off properly, so we'll have to sit through scan disk. Or the display will not work, or the backlight will not work, or it'll not have the crypto key, or the fan will be broken, or it'll just go on fire. There are so many possibilities. So the keyboard charging thing goes in that plug, and the touchscreen goes in that plug, and the thing does not fit in the chassis because it's not well made, and inverter goes in there. And front panel goes in there, and that should be it. Let's get like 2 screws in there to hold it in place. Is that not amazing? Ugh. I think we can test this out now. Power supply activate. And we want 24-ish volts. Let's do 4 amps for that. Ah shit, I need to put the other probes on, or it's not gonna fit in the plug. It's not gonna really fit in the plug no matter what probes I put on actually, which is a bit annoying. And where did my pinout go? the high-tech pinout. So that's that way around. Negative. Positive. No short two chassis, please. Pretty please. God, these clamps are garbage. It's basically impossible to do this for the camera. Do I not have like a DB9 I could shove in there? Is this going to tip over? No. It would be much easier to do with a DB9. Or DB anything. I think I have the exact correct plug over here. I think this is correct. It looks good. So if we don't short everything to all the things they should not be shorted to. Because it would be a tad pointless to just destroy this now. Someone says, smoke? Question mark. No, we don't need any smoke. We're not here to smoke anything. And we can just, like, I don't need this plug. We can just cut this flat flex. Where'd my scissors go? Scissors. We're probably right in my face. Yes, we are. Beautiful. So on the two leftmost pins, I would wager. Let's just verify that. Let's see if tweezers will work. So the one that's not... Yeah, that makes sense. Yep, it makes sense. It's not wired up in some silly manner. This is exactly what we need. Wires are about as thick as your average automotive wiring loom as well. So, wow, it's even the red one, the outer one, is going to be positive, and it's the red one. Perfect. Sam B says it would be entertaining if it went on fire. It would not. That means I can get rid of these horrible clamps that are no good, and I can actually use my nice new ones. Negative. Negative, come on. Negative. Positive. Now I can actually fold this down-ish. Very-ish. Okay, let's just do a low current test and see that we don't have any short circuits. 70 milliamps, and it's charging up something, so we'll give it 4 amps, see what happens. Hey, starting Windows 95. Beautiful. So it wants to run ScanDisk. I will fetch the original keyboard. Because we have wirelessness. Press any key to run ScanDisk. This is looking absolutely beautiful. I am quite pleased with this. Let's do a thumbnail for this, like, yeah. ScanDisk and a thumbs up, that's beautiful. So this is certainly the best result we have had thus far. Says it doesn't have enough RAM to load the registry, or the registry is damaged. Yeah, this works. It has not worked this well for as long as I have seen it. It's super upside down for me, so it's really annoying to use. Also, the touchscreen is dead. That's not good. Why is the touchscreen dead? Well, I don't think the fan is turning. And it's making weird beeping noises. Let's just turn it off correctly. Cannot read the hardware lock. I just want to turn you off. Okay, just please let me turn you off. Come on. I don't like the noises this thing is making. I know the time is incorrect. Okay, that's fine. Oh, ha. Well, we're really Windows 95 now. please. Are you done? Come on. Give me the text. It's turned the LCD off. Let's just say it's done. So it is working partially. Cannot read the hardware lock. I don't like the sound of it. It could be that the coin cell thing, the crypto thing, is not working as it's supposed to. Which is not good. But it could also be that there's some like data bus thing for the machine that's not working right. But yeah, I think we're gonna round that up for today. We have certainly made some progress. Hopefully this thing hasn't committed suicide. The touchscreen did used to work. It's not critical, but it's very nice to have. But yeah, that's where we're gonna cut it off for today. Getting a bit further every time we look at it. So yeah, I'm gonna sign off now. I'm not sure how far the audio has gotten at this point. A bit further every time we look at it. I'm signing off, so I will see you around. Goodbye.